This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris and Chums. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Pinterest. All you need for everything Leicester City FC. It's Leicester Till I Die TV.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Strap yourself in, because we're set up, switched on and ready to go.
Good evening, fellow Fox fans. We drew Burnley 1, Leicester City 1, and I'm guessing that you've all got quite a bit to say because there was quite a few actually waiting for us to start tonight. Thanks very much for that. Really do appreciate it. Just to let you know, just for future reference, these shows are usually about 45 minutes after the final whistle. We have the website to update, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and it gives us a chance to sober up if we've been drinking and celebrating because we've won, or calm down a little bit if we've not had such a good game. This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Catch us live there on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV, Facebook, Leicester Till I Die the group, and Twitter and Periscope at Leicester TID. And if you're watching us on the old YouTube, please press that subscribe button now and help us with our subscription numbers. We would really, really appreciate it. Indeed, we would. So, how are we feeling? Point lost or point gained? Let's have a look what you're saying so far. Somebody here saying, I'm waiting, lads. Yep, you were about 25 minutes early there, Callum. I'm so sorry. Like I say, future reference, it's 45 minutes after the final whistle. Roy, where are you? We're here. Not sure where the players were tonight. Let us know your thoughts on the game. Bort says, let's go. We're going, Bort. We're going. Nathan says, Casper was good today. Casper was brilliant today. I think we owe him the point. Casper, man of the match for Callum, indeed. And love the retro quit bought. Funnily enough, arrived today. This is actually my favourite away strip of all time. I went online to buy it last week. Couldn't find it. Ended up buying 2 other retro kits. The day after that, it came up on the lcfc.com website. I tell you what, I spent enough money with the club this last few months to actually buy another Yuri Tielemans. Maybe not. Nacho, huge goal. And didn't he take it well? Lee, good evening, Lee. How the devil are you, sir? Point gained, fed up with the fickle fans. I think we just get annoyed sometimes. Point gained from Facebook user there. I take your point, Lee. I do take your point. Expectations, I think, is what it's down to. we are a victim of our own success. The more that the better we do, the better we expect, and it's natural from football fans. It really is. Rory is asking me how much did it set you back. Nathan is asking me how much was it. It was £38, and it was on lcfc.com, the website. Although it is made by a different company, and they have their own website. But if you go on the lcfc.com, then the money goes to the club, obviously. But I'm nervous about the top four now. Craig Sawbridge. Good evening, Craig. How are you and your lovely family? I hope you're well. Casper, man of the match tonight, was a good point. Thought Burnley are a decent team. They played decently. But anyway, if you guys like retro shirts, here's the original retro man. Let me bring him in and say, good evening, retro man. Sounds like a film. It's Brad. Good evening, Brad.
Good evening, lads, and good evening to yourself, Chris. Yeah, I've got a retro shirt on now. Probably some of them are keen-eyed and noticed. So, Brad, you've got it on backwards. Well, I thought I'd represent how Leicester like to play football at the time with my favourite midfielder, Muzzy is it. I thought I'd wear the shirt backwards to show sometimes how our football can be played and frustrate fans.
Actually, guys, believe it or not, he's actually had a McDonald's and he spilled tomato sauce down the front. That's what it is, really, isn't it?
Oh, right. That's it now. We have to change that round now just to prove that. Ironically, mate, mine arrived today. I wasn't even expecting it. It was actually, bless her, it was thanks to my old dear. She knows I was a big fan of, like, this is the era that I came into Leicester. Yeah. It's my second favourite away kit. My actual original favourite kit that I like is away. It's the season after. It was the 97 yellow kit, but this one was one I've always been fond of. So I was glad to have that with Is It on the back.
I tell you what, that is my favourite home kit of all time. And I actually, let me just put it this way, I'd outgrown it, shall we say. So when it actually came back in the shop as a retro shirt, I was very, very happy. Can I just say, I hope if you're watching Leicester City, please stop putting these retro shirts on because I've just got to buy them. That's the company, by the way, Score Draw. I got my other two last week from Score Draw. They were 35, so I don't know what. And Score Draw make this. So I don't know what they're going to put this on as, but it's only £3 extra from the shop, and of course the money does then go to to Leicester. And Lee says here, Jesus Christ, our Lord, Brad. Can I just? I've got to ask you, Lee. Was Emma relieved it was over tonight? And what about the football game? Anyway, let's move on. For those that watch the watch along, you'll understand that. Evening from Torquay Foxes. Good evening from Torquay. It's raining up here in Bournemouth on the south coast. How the devil is it in Torquay? Not a bad point considering they're down. We are down to the bare bones. To be honest with you, and we're going to come on to it now. Yes, I mean, I can just say, and I do find this hard to say because, of course, I am such a humble person. You all know me. I don't... Stop it, Brad. Shut up. I am such a humble person. But I've got to say, I am actually 3 points ahead in the prediction league above Steve Lynick, Steve Walsh and Ian Marshall. And tonight, I think I'm about to go 6 points clear at the top. Look at that. I predicted a 1-1. Steve Walsh went for 2-1. Steve Lynick's 2-0. That's a bit of reverse psychology there from Steve Lynick. And Ian Marshall 1-0. 6 points clear at the top, Brad. What can I say?
Can you not make that into Leicester's league?
It would be nice, wouldn't it? It would be nice. Let's start off. What did you think when you saw that team put out?
I was scratching my head, but I bit my tongue, and instead of really asking what the hell was that line-up by Brendan, I cast my mind back to the amount of times that I've questioned Brendan before, and we've gone out and seen a convincing win. So I took it on the chin, didn't say anything about it, wanted to see what happened, and yeah, it was interesting, wasn't it? It was an interesting line-out. You've got to take everything into account, of course, but yeah, I think we've got a few answers tonight.
Lee, apparently Emma said yes. Well, that just shows you are pleased to be of service again. That's all I can say, Lee. You know, Lee, this is just going to carry on for the rest of the season, don't you? So it's not going to go away. Luke, good evening, Luke. How the devil are you, sir? Evening, Chris and Brad. Decent point tonight. Let's push on and win the next 2 games. We'll be very happy with 7 points out of those 3 matches. I mean, when you look at the matches that are coming up, forget the cup tie for a minute. Brighton, Sheffield United, following on from Burnley tonight. This was the toughest of the 3, wasn't it, Brad?
Yeah, I think I said after the Arsenal game, if you can pick up 7 points out of the next 2 league games, out of the next 3 league games, you'd take that. And you were probably looking at Burnley being the harder side to break down and beat. Sheffield United did get a good result tonight against Aston Villa. That's helped make me feel a bit more positive tonight. So that's not a nailed-on conclusion, but you'd like to think if Leicester can come away from the next 2 games with maximum points, it just eased this little worry that's niggling away at the back of our heads in regards to top 4.
Man United are drawing at the moment with Crystal Palace. Can I just say, I've always said Roy Hodgson, what a brilliant manager. Fantastic. Come on, Roy, do us a favour.
Yeah, if Benteke could be in goal machine and grab a winner, that'd be even better, wouldn't it?
By the way, I have never said that about Roy Hodgson is a brilliant manager, said nobody any time. It was a bit of a strange selection. 3 at the back, which not always so keen on. Fofana, obviously on the sub bench, he came on. We'll get onto that later. Soyuncu, he needs to nail his boots down, doesn't he?
Yeah, I thought it was going to come off after 20 minutes and change his bloody boots. He was slipping and sliding all over the place. Granted, there was a few Burnley players that slipped and slid all over. So, you know, we're going to rule that out as a reason for any mistakes tonight. But, yeah, it wasn't the most construed performance at the back at times, was it? It looked a bit edgy when we kept slipping and sliding everywhere. But just about got away with it.
In the first minute, the signs were there. Free kick after a minute. Ben Meat just over the bar. 2 minutes later, and I am getting fed up of saying this, and I have to be careful what I say here because our video from last night was actually taken down by YouTube for violating community standards.
Okay. What, the watch-along?
No, this was the Burnley preview. I don't know why, but in fairness to them, I did actually query it and they put it back up, unedited by the look of it. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But I'm going to be very, very polite here and say I don't totally agree with the tippy-tappy passing it about football at the back. Was that polite, do you think?
Nah, it's going to get stricken, mate. Once I close the channel down now, there was some curse word. Something wrong.
But, you know, it's led to a goal, and Brendan tells them to do it. And I said, when we scored the goal in the group, please, Brendan, do something about this, or worse to that effect. I mean, why do we do that? It's cost us tonight, hasn't it? And let's face it, I mean, I've got to be honest with you, the passing wasn't brilliant generally tonight.
No, I've come out and said that the one big negative that I have from the game today is after the first ball, whether it was trying to get a ball clear in the defensive third or potentially launching a counter-attack, we seem to be way too static and not know whether to twist or stick on the second ball. And Burnley got the second and third ball tonight, and we seem to get the first and fourth ball. And that's just not good enough at this level to be doing that with the ambitions you've got. Look, we always said that passing around the back was eventually going to lead to an error, and it did. Although we nearly did avoid it. I mean, indeed, he tried his best to put a strong foot in and get it away. It didn't. And look, Burnley fans might come at me here, but we've just given a championship-rated striker a very easy goal because Mitrat Vidra is too good for the championship, but not good enough for the Premier League. For me, he's one of them players that falls into them category, and it's frustrating to see. But let's not forget, when it's been good this season, people might come out and say, yeah, but when it's been good this season, we've not really picked up on the fact that we've not complained about passing it around the back, but really we have. We've pointed out that maybe we have been a bit too negative.
I brought it up numerous times. I don't like it at all. And it's something that's only come in. Well, no, in fairness, Pell probably kind of did it as well. But it's certainly a Brendan Rodgers thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that first, well, we went 1-0 down after 3 minutes. And I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, that first quarter of an hour, I mean, I've made a note here. We were actually playing, we were dressed like Real Madrid. We were actually playing like real turnips. I mean, we just didn't. I was supposed to laugh at that. Oh, come on. That's me one joke I've written down. I've got to use another joke now. We were bad at the start, weren't we?
It was weird because both halves kind of matched each other, but with less intensity. I felt in the second half. In the first half, I thought like you were right. We definitely were slow. We didn't get going. We were definitely like real turnips, as you said there. I'll give you that one. But once we got our feet in it and we showed we can attack, we actually looked decent in that first half. I was back to feeling comfortable. We'll get onto it in a minute, I'm sure. But what a fantastic goal to get us back level and deservedly so. And we actually came into that in the end of that first half going, I felt comfortable. I thought, there's only one team. If this keeps going the way it's going to win it. And it was us. And yeah, the second half, like I said, we'll get on to it, but it started in the same fashion, and that was disappointing. I feel that the one thing that's making such a focus on the negativity of us passing the ball around the back is we probably missed 4 or 5 opportunities in both halves to get that ball and turn and run at them. I just feel there's a bit of uncertainty on what they're going to do when they get the ball out of that defensive 4. Do they turn and go and try and get Vardy on his toes and in the actual on his toes, or do they circle it back round and build it slowly? And sometimes I think we second guess ourselves.
Yeah. Brookline saying there, good evening, Brookline. Thanks for joining us. LCFC 2021, good start equals bad finish, bad start equals good finish.
Oh, you're not wrong, but well.
Cows on real turnips, fantastic. Thank you. Facebook user here. Well, you wish Chris goal from your favourite player. And Rory, decent banter that Chris made. I've got to be honest with you. Up until recently, I was very positive about Iheanacho. I always, said I was so happy when we signed him. Yes, I've been critical of him. It was a fantastic goal that he got today. Alan Smith, who was reporting, or co-commentating for Sky, was actually very praised, saying what a difficult goal it was to take. I mean, showing that when we hit the ball up, I mean, he was almost Vardy-esque, wasn't it? Over his shoulder, left foot, his weaker foot, and in. Credit where credit's due. And I've been saying this for the last couple of shows. Iheanacho is on better form at the moment than Vardy. You can't drop Vardy because he takes 2 players away from other players and, he'll play rubbish for 80 minutes and get a goal in the 83rd. But I must admit, and I've written this down for the second half, but we'll come on to it now. I was surprised that Iheanacho went off because I thought he had a very good game all round.
Yeah, I've always been one to say that you sometimes feel with Iheanacho, it's like when you go and watch your kid play football, or your nephew, or whatever, or a family member of a young kid play football, and you really want him to do well, and you felt like a proud member of his family, didn't you, or a friend of his when he scored that goal. And to quote, like you said about Jamie Vardy, it was not as classy and not as world class as it, but it was in the same dexterous as Vardy's goal against West Brom. And let's not forget, if that was Vardy that had scored that, fans would be doing backflip tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
They would be saying, goal of the season, Vardy's back, this is goal, rah, rah, rah. And it was good to see that Nacho, maybe not in that level because we haven't seen it so much on a consistent basis, but we did see a lot of people come out on the social media fronts and live in the game and speak highly of Iheanacho. And I think he will feel a bit gutted that. I think the one thing about Nacho coming off is at least he comes off knowing it's the formation change and not his performance has done it, because he looked good tonight. And that's what we need when we're in the situation we're in.
I mean, I think I'm going to give credit where credit's due with Iheanacho. Like I say, his form at the moment for actual goals scored is better than Vardy's over the last 10 or so games. And, he got us through against Brighton. He got the point today. I mean, he does get the odd goal, and it's just a shame for him that he is up against Jamie Vardy. You know, it's like going up against, you know, being signed when Gary Lineker was you know, playing for us, or you up, you know, Tottenham signed a striker when they've got Kane up front. It's always going to be difficult for that second striker until such time as Vardy maybe sort of, well, let's have a look what Bort says here. Do you feel like Vardy is starting to show his age a little bit? It's a good question because he's not scoring at the moment. I've said next season's probably his last one where he can look at full 90-minute games. What do you think, Brad?
Well, I mean, I brought this up in the Arsenal game, and if you've not checked out our dissecting of the Arsenal feed, go and check it out. I'll just be quite quick on this one. I've said that maybe where he's not lacking his pace, Jamie Vardy still got that about him. He's still very busy and still very clever, and he's using a lot of his football mind this season. There is parts of his game that have been shadowed, and we're seeing him lose them, you know, lose them abilities just a notch. Nothing dramatic, nothing to get too disconcerted about, considering he's 34. But yeah, there is certain parts of his game, a little bit of finesse, a little bit of better first touch. The quality of that's dropped a bit, and we've seen it. But he was very clever for Iheanacho's goal, because when, I think, was it Ndidi that played the ball that got through to
a great ball to be honest with you.
And if you actually look at that, and Sky broke it down brilliantly, I thought, you know, shock horror, they actually broke something down of Leicester's right, where indeed he kind of went, well, somebody do something for me, had his arms out, and Jamie Vardy just took a 3-yard stride. And in that 3 yards, like the Pied Piper, he led 2 defenders. And Iheanacho noticed it and made his run then. And it was a brilliant, smart goal that we scored tonight. And maybe we've just seen the start of Brendan Rodgers may have jumped the gun on something here. I'm going to give credit to Brendan Rodgers here. A little stat that Sky pointed out, maybe they need to look at more. Maybe they have just noticed it, and that's what we'll see more of. Maybe this is the start of 2 up front. Maybe this is the start of the passing of the torch, because now I could be wrong, someone might correct me, but Sky pointed out before Iheanacho scored that in 20 appearances where Vardy and Iheanacho have started, I believe it was started anyway, there's been 18 goals combined between them. Now, yeah, I'm sure Vardy got, at that point, 14 of the 18 goals. But that's now, if that's correct, that's now 19 goals in 21 appearances, when both started up front. Maybe, just maybe, for the rest of this season, we might just see them 2 as a forefront and not alone up front.
I think as well, if you, I want to say, if Brendan's as good a manager as he thinks he is, he should be looking at Vardy and maybe saying, he's a little bit off the pace, so I've got to play him differently. And like you say, if that means playing 2 up front, but still getting something out of Vardy, then he should, you know, he should be doing it. I mean, we've got where is it gone? Guy hasn't put his name to this, but think Vardy had his best time, now 2 off. I think no. I'm sorry, I can't agree with that. Like you say, he still takes the players with him, and he still what's the word I'm looking for? He's still got, like you say, Iheanacho comes off, Vardy stays on, because you can never really discard Vardy, can you?
No, and that's the thing. We all know very, very, very much so that Vardy is one of them players that every defender will know that you don't just defend him for 80 minutes and think, well, he's not done anything, he's not going to score, I've got him in my back pocket. You defend him for 90 minutes, 94 minutes, 96 minutes, no matter. You know, you don't just get to the 90th minute mark and ease off your job and think, well, I've deflated his confidence, he's knackering up his first touch, he's not going to get a goal, because he's proven it throughout his career. It doesn't matter if he gets 1 chance or 10 chances, he'll take one. And, you know, tonight we could have been looking at a different thing. I think tonight you saw it as well, where I really think the 2 striker thing might be a more permanent or a more consistent, if not permanent, thing going forward. Is you saw a lot more of Jamie Vardy doing Jamie Vardy things tonight than you did when he's been up there on his own. in the last couple of weeks. And that would, like I said, with the goal, he dragged 2 defenders away. Even if he's not doing anything directly, indirectly, he's still got a lot to offer to this squad.
Maybe we are, like you said before, excellent point. Maybe we are slowly seeing the changing of the guard, and we're at that point where the 2 of them are together, and maybe it's the start. You got to say, I mean, in that first half, I mean, I can believe, and I know you don't like stats here, Brad, but I'm gonna quote one anyway, because I could not believe it. At half time, apparently we had in the first half 70% of the possession. Now, I don't know if I was watching the game or not, because I thought when we equalised, I couldn't see us scoring, to be honest with you, but when we equalised, it was almost against the run of play, and I really thought, what we're doing with this team. But Brendan again shows the rest of us know nothing about football, and he knows what he's doing. In Brendan, we should trust.
Yeah, and I think fans need to kind of take things as a bit. I mean, some people will be disappointed with the result that we didn't get the win, and it is frustrating. We couldn't find a way to nick 3 points out of this one. But what we've kind of got to do is there's so much emphasis, and there's always going to be until the season's done and Leicester's final position in the league table is showing that because of what happened last year, that's still going to niggle away at the back of everybody's mind in regards to Leicester. But let's not forget, Chelsea's next game is Liverpool. There's a Manchester derby coming up. Now, let's not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but if we come out of Brighton with 3 points, I'm not saying we're gonna, but let's just put the hypotheticals out there. All of a sudden, it doesn't look so bad, does it? And just at times where it looks like that, it's starting to wobble, I think collectively we just need to take a breather and go at it and not get so worried and caught up in the media revving the engine on, is this the start of Leicester collapsing out of top 4 again? And just have a bit of faith, because today, if you beat Brighton, it's suddenly 4 points out of 6, so it's not bad, is it? And the performance showed enough today, in not enough stages, but in stages, to suggest that there's a little bit of spark in that team that can hold it whilst players come back to fitness and get on that training ground.
Stephen, I absolutely love your comment, mate. 70% possession, knocking it around the back.
Yeah, that is very true. Very true. We spent a lot of time going backwards, unfortunately.
Let me go back before we go forward.
Sound like Leicester.
Yeah. Boom, boom. I'll give you that. Was a good one. Me had a foul on Tillerman.
What about you?
In the 10th minute. It's all about me. It's all about me. Was that a penalty? I mean, it obviously wasn't given.
It's one of them, isn't it? You've seen them given sometimes, and we've been sat here going, it's very soft, and sometimes they're not given. You'd have been angry to see it given. You would have been angry to see it given if it was in the opposition box, wouldn't you? If that had been Amati going in on Chris Woods and it's been given, you'd have been very angry at it being given. So while they've been given, I think it's fair to say it probably wasn't a penalty on the basis of it. I just don't see enough in it to warrant sit here going, that should have been a penalty.
Just to keep it up here, Palace 0, Man United 0 at half time. So
see that's the thing again. We lost to Arsenal. Manchester United drew. We drew tonight. Now, even if Manchester United do go and find a winner in the second half, if it's only a 1-0 scrappy 1-0 late minute winner, or this ends 0-0, is it really that bad? Because they're not. No one, you know what I mean. Unlike last season, where there was one predominant team that looked to lead the charge, which was ironically Manchester United, to catch us. Teams around us aren't doing their job either. So let's just look at everything in perspective. And that's a very good half-time score to come into on the back of what we've just done tonight.
Let me just have a look here. Can you tell me how many games City have played this season? It's 27 in the Premier League.
Right,
We
we've
played
had
1 in the League Cup, which was 28,
2 in the FA Cup,
2 in the FA Cup, and
8
6,
in the
7, 8.
Europa.
Yeah, 10, 11, 18.
About 38.
Yeah. Jinx. 38. That's my age.
38.
So
Yeah, plus 10 years.
yeah. No, well, I'll take that. Don't get me wrong. I'll take that.
It still takes
It took me a while, that one. Come on, Palace, from a Chelsea fan. Chowdhury took a lot of stick with that goal, and he took a lot of stick after that, whether that was people still annoyed about the goal. That bad, was he?
To quote it before, just to prove that I don't just have vendettas against odd players. I like Chowdhury. I really do. I liked him at a young age, and he was a laugh a minute at the training ground. I remember, for those that may know, I actually worked there for a year before I moved up to the stadium, and he was one of the youngsters that was just coming into the side, into the youth team at that point, and he is a lad that believes a lot in his own ability. And tonight, I think it's more focused on because of the mistake that led to the goal. That was one of the opportunities that I felt that maybe if he'd have just turned and gone with it, it wouldn't have happened at all. And that was one of the things that I sort of meant by sometimes Leicester didn't know whether to stick or twist, and I think he made the wrong decision there. But I have to agree. When you're given an opportunity in any side, you need to take it. And this was one of them performances to me where he's not covered himself in glory. Even if he doesn't make that mistake, and let's just say he did clear that ball and he's not at fault for the goal, and let's say that's not how they scored tonight. He didn't have the best of performances tonight, did he? He really didn't. He lost the ball a bit. He got a bit indecisive. He made some good decisions and made some good some parts, but may have been more highlighted because his mistake led to the goal. But at the end of the day, it's a team performance. That's the reason Burnley, and let's face it, we're going to talk about it a bit probably when we get on to the second half. We could have conceded that goal numerous ways, in fairness, if it wasn't for Schmeichel at points. So he may be getting some unnecessary because of that glaring mistake, but he wasn't the best.
Tavares? Brookline says here he's not convinced by him. Coming on in the last 2 games, he looked nervous and loose on the touch. Can't believe Under can't make it on ahead of him. I think him coming on is Brendan Rodgers. Yeah, I think him coming on is Brendan Rodgers trying to keep him because they're in contract negotiations. But I know there's some huge European clubs. It might even be Barcelona or Real Madrid that are after this guy. Certainly, a couple in the Portuguese league, the top clubs over there, and he's from Portugal. Well, his family are from Portugal, so it might be like Roger when we didn't get rid of Chowdhury and he'd promised him some games. Maybe it's part of that, but I don't think he looked particularly bad, Brad. Bad Brad?
No, bad Brad. Yeah. It's hard, isn't it? It's always hard to judge. I do see where Brookline's coming from. I mean, he did have a bit nervy at the times. He came on against Arsenal. There wasn't really much he was going to do about that. Maybe if it was 2-1, I think Brendan was hoping to still be in the game or a lot closer in the game at Arsenal for him to have an impact. Under not getting on front of him, well, Under's a right winger. That's why he's a cam. Well, he is a midfielder. He's an all-round midfielder.
Said the same thing there, yes.
Yeah. But I will quickly say that point. I was a bit disappointed and surprised that Under didn't get on at any point in that game. But it was one of them, weren't it? At the end of the day, he didn't make any glaring, obvious mistakes that you could go and say he's not quite ready for this level. I think you find that this is the time where Brendan Rodgers has probably seen Tavares in the under-23s, taken some notes, taken notes of interest, knows what kind of quality and play he's got on his hands if they can keep hold of him. And if maybe in a week or two we hear that he signed a new contract or something definitive happens with his contract, and his status with it being a Leicester City player or not in the next couple of weeks, we might see it. But there's probably something that we're seeing there where Brendan Rodgers is going, look, show the world what I'm seeing in you, and that is over the next year or so, you're going to be another big name at Leicester, and you're going to be another player that everybody's scrambling around to want to get the signature on. Because I would hate to let him go, because I'm guessing his contract's running out, so he'd be going for free. He wouldn't be going for a fee. But I'd hate to see a player of his potential that if Rodgers is so keen to see and get in, mixing with the first team, like Dewsbury Hall and Daly Campbell, that he's turning around to these players and saying, I want you here, prove your worth. Because if them players do go on a free, or they end up going for 2 million to a team elsewhere and goes in their youth system, and then 3, 4, 5 years down the line, we're seeing them go for 60, 70, 80 million, you're going to feel like Leicester missed an opportunity when they've been very good at developing and keeping.
Second half, both teams hit the woodwork. Again, Leicester, I don't know what it is at half-time, whether we're still drinking our tea, but we have been playing absolutely shite. I just want to say to people, sorry, by the way, I'm struggling to put comments up because it's not replacing them and it's not taking them down when I'm clicking. So what I'll do is I'll try and read the comments out rather than just putting them up. But we are being shite at the start of every second half, and it took a worldie from Casper 3 minutes into the second half to keep it at 1-1.
Yeah, and I have to admit, I was very disappointed. Like I said, we kind of slowly got back into that game after Burnley took the lead. Then we sort of got that goal, and then I thought the emphasis was with Liz was that name does ring a bell. Unfortunately, Brett, I am crap with names. I'm better with faces, but that does ring a bell.
To be honest with you, it's obviously working because you can see that. I can't see that on my screen.
Yeah, it's just Brett saying, "Do I remember?"
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it down the side, but it's not bringing it up on the on the thing.
What was we saying? Yeah, so after we got that goal, we kind of just started to turn the screw. We came in at half time, probably with our tails wagging. We seemed to be the better side, and I was very disappointed in that first 20 minutes because it was as if we completely gave the initiative back to Burnley. For 20 minutes, they really showed they were the home side. I think the percentage came up before we got a foothold in that second half, and it was something like 67, 68% to Leicester's 30-odd%. And it was like,
Brad,
gave the initiative away.
Are you quoting stats there?
I know, I can't believe it. God, forgive me.
Hang on. I'm just getting the diary out. Let me just make a note of that.
But that's the time that stats back me up for once and actually reflect a true performance, don't they? But for them 20 minutes, it was concerning. It was concerning me because I felt a little bit dejected because I was like, really? Is this how we're going to start the second half? And Casper made a couple of world-class saves, proving yet again that he's up there as one of the best goalkeepers around, let alone in the Premier League. And I felt a little bit disappointed because then I felt like, even though there's still 20 odd minutes to go when Leicester seemed to have their turn at having a go at trying to bring, get a 3 points out of the game, I started to feel that maybe it started a bit too late. I think you need to be controlling that second half. I think I was hoping that Leicester would come out, get at them, get right over Burnley and find themselves 2-1 in front with like 56, 60 minutes played. But that didn't really start to become a feeling that we might do it until about the 80th minute. And it was just, like I said, it was just a little bit disappointing. It was probably the biggest disappointment of the whole half, the whole game, minus going behind after 3 minutes.
Yeah.
For me. Was that 20 minutes well?
Apparently he was head of academy recruitment, Brett says.
He was what, sorry?
Head of academy recruitment. Tell you what, Brad.
Again, I appreciate that, Brett. And I did spend a lot of time around because that was the areas of concentrating that I had to do at the old training ground at Beaver Drive. But I'd have to see a face, mate. I'd have to see a face.
No. Have a think about it, Brad, and always let Mrs. Ahern know later on tonight.
Well, yeah, she's waiting for me upstairs. Sorry, Brett, I wasn't supposed to tell you she was here tonight. She's working late, Brett. She's working late.
At the end of the day, it actually ended up, quite an entertaining game. I know it was 1-1 and we started badly, but to say that it was two teams with fairness, half the team out, on both sides, I've seen a lot worse games than that.
Yeah, Turf Moor. Well, Burnley. The expression "Burnley at home" and an entertaining game doesn't normally go well in tandem, does it? Doesn't normally go hand in hand, but it really was a game of that. And I think it kind of literally was both teams in bad form in regards to the last few results. Obviously Leicester are in great form overall in the season. We're third still, so, we're still on great form overall. But in the last couple of games, both teams have slumped to disappointing defeats. Leicester obviously got knocked out of Europe in the midst of that as well. So Q 0-0 was probably the go for what people are expecting tonight's result. Yeah. Neither team wanting to lose it, but both teams wanting to win it. And in the end, you got that with a bit more of entertainment to it, because I remember the home game that ended 4-2, and that could have been 5-2, could have been 5-3, could have been 4-3. And in the end, you probably didn't get the goals that the first game got, the home game got, that we could have got tonight, because you could have probably seen a similar scoreline tonight in some aspects for the chances that both teams had.
Yes, sorry, I was expecting more from you then.
No, I'm trying to help with the cutting down, mate. I'm trying to help with not giving updates.
We're going to look at sort of ratings and what have you at the moment, but I'm going to ask you this question, because I did ask Craig this the other day, and we seem to be going, we seem to be saying like, we're on a bad run, blah, blah. If you take Europe out of the equation, we actually, I don't even think, lost about 1 in 15. So it could be, we could be losing these games. An away draw at Burnley, who I think are in a false position down where they are, to be honest with you, I think isn't a bad result. I still think we're probably punching above our weight. Somebody said earlier, if all these teams had all the players fit, would we still be there? Would you take, if we finish 5th again this season, would you say it's been a bad season? I would be still happy with that.
If you asked me in August, would 5th be a good season? I'd say it'd be a good season. I'd say it's still a building foundation. The club, the board, the chairmans, we've got fantastic boards. We could praise them for hours on end on here, but they've obviously turned around, and Brandon would have turned around to the lads last season, before a ball was kicked last season, and said, right, lads, we've got a side here that can compete at the highest level, and we need to do certain things to get there. But I think if we start it here and our benchmark is Europe, we can build on that. So if you said to me 2 seasons ago, when Brandon's now in his second full season, you're going to get Europe, you're going to come 5th, you're going to get European football back to back. That's definitely something stable. It's very good. It can build upon. And I think if you'd have asked me, without the injuries, would 5th be a good finish? I'd say it's still just about be a good finish, but it'd still be disappointing that a fully fit Leicester squad should probably have taken that season on to finish 3rd. Given the fact that we probably have 3/4 of our team out, and we're still where we are, there'd still be an air of disappointment, because we're still the only team to not drop out the top 4 this season at any point. When results have all been finalised, it would be a twinge disappointing, but it'd still be a good season. But you go on with Burnley. So I'm just going to add this quickly. Burnley, the point. Again, stats are starting to come to my aid in this one. They're actually on my side for a change. But we are joint with Manchester City, who are the only team that have the same. They don't even have better than us. The most points are gained away from home. This season, 30 of our points have come away from home. So on that basis, and like you said, take the European games out of it, we're not actually on bad form in the league. We're just on collective bad form in competitions.
I think if we finish 5th, though, the chances are that we will still be above Arsenal and Tottenham, and that's
and Chelsea and Liverpool.
Be good, you know. So
yeah,
we will see. Now, I want to be honest with you. Let's have a look. We're going to go on to Alan Bennett's man of the match and his ratings for the team. For me, and I don't know if that's come up yet, I thought this guy was. I was thinking this guy was in with a shout of it. He deserves the praise because I say it was Vardy-esque, that goal, reminding me, and it reminded a couple of people in the group of the Liverpool strike by Vardy a while ago where he took it over his shoulder. But Alan, quite rightly, I think, at the end of the day, has gone for Casper as his Leicester Till I Die Manager of the Week and rating Brendan with 7 and the team with 7. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think he's spot on with all 3 of those.
Yeah, I can't much agree. It's still a good result, and there's lots more positives to take out of it than the Arsenal game. You can't quite give a performance like that an 8, and it definitely doesn't warrant like being any lower than a 7. I think a 7's all round a fantastic. Schmeichel, he just keeps proving people wrong, doesn't he? Every
said
game.
Earlier, and I couldn't actually find the quote. I was looking for the quote when you were when I said about you stopping, but I may have shown it. I can't remember. I think I did actually. He is still a fantastic goalkeeper. His distribution's never been good. I can remember him in the Championship. He used to kick half of his balls into the crowd as much as into the. But I think his problem is, instead of hitting it down the centre, which I get, he does try to kick it to the left or the right, and obviously there's always the risk of going out. But Schmeichel, your man of the match?
Oh yeah, hands down. And look, again, and I'm not just saying this. Maybe people might say take your blue tints off. I'm sorry, but I will say this until something happens and his performances drop dramatically. Forget the Premier League. He's one of the best goalkeepers around. He really is. He's so reliable, and look, his distribution. We've been saying it's been a problem since we've had him. It's been a problem most of his career. Although I would say, he got one killer goal kick, didn't he? Right, that landed it. Was it in Iheanacho's feet that nearly created a chance? So he can get them right when he goes down the middle, but I think it's preferred that. I think the reason he kicks it short or goes to the left or right back is because Brendan maybe has it is he'd rather have the ball and work from there on how we're going to get it forward than have to scrap it out in the middle and a scrap-happy team. Burnley are a scrap-happy team.
The passing from the back is very much Brendan's, and perhaps before that, Puel. Although I do feel, and I made a note of this actually early on in the game, I think Burnley had sussed that out because there's, a couple of the balls that Casper was playing out to the defenders, there literally was a Burnley player right behind them. So, teams are cottoning on to this. But I think, like you say, I think he goes down the sides as well because when he kicks it long, because if he goes down the centre, I suppose there's more chance of them kicking the ball straight back to us. But hey, it's 1-1. We've not lost. Onwards and upwards. Off to Brighton on Sunday. Thank you for joining us, Brad. And I will see you Sunday evening. It's going to be a late one, so get your carpet slippers and your cocoa on.
Yeah, I will do, mate. I might be wrapped up in my duvet at that time because it's.
Well, knowing you'll have it on back to front, whatever you're wearing.
Yeah, well, it depends on the performance. I might do.
Yeah. Brilliant, mate. Anyway, thanks very much. As always, you do make the show. Thanks for coming on. And sleep well, stay safe, and I'll see you on Sunday.
Yeah, I'll see you Sunday. And thanks for everybody who's commented today. Just remember, Leicester City's achievement target objective this season might be top 4, but this channel's seasonal objective, shall we say, Chris, is 500 subscribers. So if you're not already, do hit that subscribe button and see if we can hit our objections for this season.
Objections? Objectives.
Yeah, objective, objection overruled, whatever. I can't get my words out. So on that one, I'm going to bid everybody good night and see you all after Brighton.
Cheers, Brad. Take care, bud.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Thanks. Cheers. Thanks very much to Brad there. Excellent job as always. Getting his words mixed up. Hey, don't we all? Don't we all? Like I say, if you can give us a subscribe, that would be great. And if you want to listen to this again, we are on the old podcast in about 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. We'll be on podcast, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, and the old goggle. So, 1-1, we move on. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, we will be back. I'll be back, as somebody in a lot better accent than me says. We are back for the Brighton Opposition View show for the third time. We'll be talking to Scott from We Are Brighton. Seen him more than my missus when we were married. 3 times this season. We'll be back then. And Friday with... who are we with on Friday? Craig. That's it. Bless him. Craig will be back for the preview show when we'll be previewing the Brighton game. And then obviously Sunday before and after the match, as always. And don't forget, guys, thanks for waiting for us to start. Give us about 40, 45 minutes after the final whistle before we go live with this particular show. Thanks very much for all your comments. Thanks very much for your input. Thanks if you have subscribed. If you haven't, please do subscribe. Help us out with those numbers. We would be eternally grateful. Leicester Till I Die on YouTube. You can catch it up there if you're mad enough to want to watch it again. I'm going to say thank you. I'm going to say good night. Stay safe, guys. See you tomorrow at 7 with Scott from We Are Brighton. Good night now.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all their social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Leicester Till I Die podcasts on the Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Anchor, and all podcast platforms.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.